Welcome in to another edition of the Cavalier Connection. We're live tonight as we're going to talk a little basketball. Not been a whole lot of positive to talk about in the basketball world, and a little football as well. Talk about some of Jay's New Year's resolutions for the football team. I'm Jeff. I'm hosting with you tonight. We got Jay. Jay, how you doing tonight?
Oh man, doing great. Lots going on in Virginia sports world, and we love to talk about it. So hopefully, we'll have some other people with us tonight. Hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and give us a comment. Let us know you're there, where you're watching from, if you're watching, and we can't wait to talk about the who's with everybody.
Yep, and bring your comments, bring your frustrations, bring it all out to us tonight. Before we get going, we got to get our, it's disappointing because we have a great sponsor who's partner in Mincers, and we want to be able to give them the attention they deserve. And we do our Mincers moment every week, and so this week we have a Mincers moment, and even though basketball wasn't too pretty last night, we did have a moment. Jay, you going to share that one for us?
Yep. Getting ready to share that right now. All right, let's see.
This is our mid-40s trying to figure this technology out here, folks. Hit the play button. There it is.
At this point in the game, you're a true fan if you're still watching, but there was a ray of hope right here.
Great body control.
What could have been? What could be? Kofi with the three.
Good range.
Yeah.
Really good prospect. He's going to be really good.
It looked like Kofi got to a point last night where he was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to shoot. I don't care what they say.
They're going to be good.
Banged home that one. Cut it to 11. A nice outlet there.
Brody actually run that.
Cuts it to 9. And Cal's been known for blowing leads. You think you got a shot. But from there, we're just going to stop it. The Mincers moment ends at that point right there.
We thank our partners from Mincers. Jacob Kofi with a nice little run there last night. The body language on the basketball team was not very good last night. Kofi looked frustrated as could be. Once again, I know there was a little foul trouble. And I love it. Thank you for coming in here. We already got commentary. Ahu fan, absolutely no leader on this team. Where is McNeely? So much to get into. With this basketball team. Hey Jay, I'll just go to you. Let's get some initial thoughts.
Yeah. So last night, we stayed up obviously and watched that debacle. I was really disappointed. Going in, I actually picked them to win, and when I sent you my prediction, you said, Jay, you never pick them to win, and I said, yeah, but I'm gonna try to be positive. I think it's a good matchup, but honestly, the Stojakovic kid was just better than anything we could put on the floor. When he wanted a bucket, he could get a bucket, and we don't have that guy who can do that, and that was really the difference. It's going to be really hard to win on nights when IMAC is, what was he, 1 for 8 or something?
It was bad.
I don't have the box score open right now.
I'm gonna pull it up.
But I think Saunders was also around that. I agree with the comment that came in from a Who fan. We really don't have a leader. If you had to pinpoint a leader, Jeff, who would you say?
Crazy enough, it's crazy enough. It's Andrew Rohde.
You think so?
Yeah.
If I had to say a leader, I would probably say Saunders.
I only say Rohde is because he's forced into the point guard role. And we've been there in person as well. He's constantly communicating to the team, and of all the guys, the effort level last night, I thought he gave effort. Like the dude, he left it all out on the floor, and I didn't. If we really needed a basket, he was about the only one who could find a way to get something. But
Yeah, and I will say I would say Saunders simply because of one, his pedigree. He's played in a national championship game, and that alone gets you some credit in a locker room. Also, if you look at our team, I would imagine that he is kind of the enforcer for the team.
oh no, he is. Yeah.
So I would say him, but you're right. I think we lack a real leader, and I can tell you what we lack for sure is a dog. We ain't got no
Yeah.
dog in this team at all.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Fowler, says Kyle Guy is the leader. I sure wish he could get out on that floor and lead this team. Good Lord. No,
Yeah,
I hear you. I mean, but when we're having to, talk about who's the leader on the team like this and try to figure it out, we don't have a leader. We
I
don't
feel
have.
like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll say I like Elijah Saunders, but I don't know. Ahu fan says got to give Rhodey credit. He's playing his heart out, unlike Bliss, who refuses to. And that's another excellent point. Rhodey's out there. He is giving his heart out, but I mean, what's the deal? Bliss, I guess he's.
Well, it's really frustrating with Bliss.
I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it, but
he's already got 1 foot in the portal. It has to, right? Because he's trying to conserve a year of eligibility.
Yep, he can have
the
medical
only way
red
that
shirt.
makes sense.
Yep, medical red shirt.
And the frustrating thing is he's healthy by the account. Listening to Sanchez,
right?
It's a player decision. I mean, what is that? Guys usually have to be told, we're not going to let you on the floor because you might injure yourself.
Right.
We got a guy on our team who's, eating a scholarship that he's telling the coaches, no, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I can't go tonight. I told you he's not a real person. And Two Guard and I were Two Guard got a good kick off that one, but look, it was like he's the Bigfoot of UVA basketball. Ain't nobody ever seen him in a game.
Yeah. So let's just start real quick with basketball. Let's start at the top. Let's start out right from the start. Coach Sanchez, thoughts on Sanchez?
I think Sanchez is a one and done. I don't think he's the guy. We tried to be real nice and polite and say we hope that he could turn it around. And look, at this point, it didn't even, like, I'm watching the guys last night, and you're seeing guys doing, like, I haven't seen that in 15 years. Like, guys just like being emotional and pointing fingers rather than looking at the mirror, or just being not emotional on the court, just being assassins out there and playing the game, not looking at the officials. Both freshmen who I really like, Kofi and Sharma, and they were both doing it a little bit. It's Sanchez. He don't have no fire. He may have it internally. In fact, I'm sure he does. Like, if you told Sanchez to his face, man, you don't have any fire, he would probably be burning inside and smiling on the outside. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
He doesn't show emotion. And whether it's his fault or Tony Bennett's fault, he's coaching the roster that was left to him. Now, everybody thought we'd have Bliss. Everybody thought we'd have Worley. So you're down two at arguably the most important position of point guard. So I think he's one and done, and I think the names that we're going to be going after probably have already been contacted through the back channels.
The one thing about it is, and I know some people post concerns about this player or that player transferring, and the thing is, what we currently have isn't winning basketball games. And like you said, I think you put on X. Louisville, you just bring in your coach. It can be done quick. Bring in the transfers. And this is what, unfortunately, this is what college basketball is today. I like the old way. I like to be able to develop kids and do it that way, but it's not like that anymore. So, we don't have a playmaker on the team. Like you said, it can go get a basket. I don't understand. Ahu fan said, I think Sanchez expected to take over in a couple years and Bennett blindsided him, and that's possible. If Bennett, we love Coach Bennett. He brought a national title to Virginia. If Bennett wanted Sanchez to have some success, well, he didn't set him up very well for it. He left and how he left in that little bit of time, he didn't really set him up for that success.
We got a comment from Travis. It's all about money. That's why Tony mic dropped.
Man, that's right. And he's right.
He's 100% right. And Tony, Coach Bennett even talked about that, that he just, he wasn't the best guy for the program. And it's not because he can't coach anymore. It's because he understands the program has to evolve, and he's not capable of evolving to that.
Right.
Or he chooses not to, which is obviously, that's his choice.
So on the roster, there may be one player who could potentially is quick enough or athletic enough to go get a basket, and he doesn't see the floor. Thoughts on Day-Day Ames? I don't know what's going on. Day-Day fouled the three-point shooter last night, was pulled from the game immediately. He didn't come back in. I, of course, texted you and said something about, I guess Day-Day's not playing again. And he was put back in the game right after I said it. This is in the second half. He played about 60 seconds. He's back on the bench. There's mistakes going on all over the floor by all sorts of guys. He makes one mistake, he's out. I don't know what's going on. He's definitely as we said, I'm expecting most of this team to transfer out, but he's definitely going to be leaving, I would think. What's up with that? Thoughts on Day-Day?
Yeah, I don't know why. Day-Day gets judged far more harshly than the other players, it seems. Day-Day can make a mistake. Day-Day is not a perfect player. We've seen that, but we've also seen Day-Day go out there and hit double digits fairly easily in more than one game. I mean,
he actually can shoot as well.
I was gonna say he's a pretty good shooter when he's left alone. But look, he got 4 minutes last night. And you and I, we were texting, he came in the game, and almost before, when you made that comment, he came in, but almost before I could respond, he was back out.
He was back out, yeah.
Are you messing with this kid? Like Sanchez. Right. You literally put him in for a minute.
Yeah.
Rhodey screws up all the time, and I know people want to give Rhodey credit, and he's playing his heart out, and look, Rhodey's had games where he's been good. He's had games where he's been bad. Obviously, he's going to get minutes, but Day-Day's got to play. He's got to play.
All right, next one. And this all still falls under Sanchez for me.
We got a comment here from Shane Brown. Yeah. It says,
I'm sorry, I took it down.
Day-Day was a different player before he got hurt. And, yeah, I mean, I think that definitely has played a role in his problems.
But we haven't seen him enough to know what. I haven't seen him enough to see if he's affected or not. And maybe something in practice. But, Sanchez, they've ruled out this injury.
Yeah.
As far as his playing time.
Yeah.
Another Sanchez, a questionable for me, and I know for you as well. Anthony Robinson, he comes in. He played 4 minutes last night as well. When he comes on the floor, good things have happened. Yeah, he makes mistakes too, of course. But we cannot get a rebound to save our life It's offensive board after offensive board after offensive board. Is there no reason to try that guy? That guy plays hard when he comes in there every single time.
And look, you can't say the name Anthony Robinson without saying the name Blake Buchanan.
I know.
What is Blake Buchanan giving you over Robinson? I tweeted last night. At this point, after seeing Robinson on the floor, he was productive in his 3 or 4 minutes. This is coaching malpractice. This is almost criminal. Like, what are you doing? Blake Buchanan, I'm sorry. He would be getting the day treatment if it were me.
So, and I just want to preface everything with I'm not a basketball expert. I'm not an X's and O's guy. I'm just a fan that sits here, and this is just what I see as a fan. And I just don't understand. And there's smarter guys in the room than me, for sure. But I just don't understand. Anthony Robinson, every time he's come into the game, he makes an impact. When you're struggling on the boards, I think you would bring somebody like that into the game. And another
He's
one
such
that
a good athlete, and he blocks shots.
And he gets to the basket and gets and ones. He's a good ball player.
Yeah, I don't like what we're not at practice. We always used to say this with Tony, and Tony get a pass. Tony knows the team. We always trust Tony, and Tony we trust. Blah blah blah. Ron gets none of that. Of course, yes, he's at practice. You can't tell. They literally don't guard Blake Buchanan at the elbow. Like, you're not even a threat from the elbow. I mean, it's a 15-footer basically. Like, you can't.
Now I'll play devil's advocate here of reason you're playing Buchanan. Is you've given up on your season. You know this is not the year. You're not a tournament team, et cetera, et cetera. The only way to get better is playing on the floor. They need to feed him, and he needs to be able to learn how to get some touch. But he has no touch around the rim, so it's it would not be my choice. But at the same time, if you're trying to develop and you've given up on the season, well, you must think Anthony Robinson's not very good. He's a redshirt freshman. Why would we not play him? Why would he not be getting the minutes as well? I like Kofi being out there on the floor. I think Kofi's got potential to be something. The thing is, all these guys are going to be gone. We just have a team full of role players, some of which could be very good role players. I think Isaac McNeely would be a very good role player if he has the pieces around him that can create and then get him to basketball. He can't create one for himself. These guys, well, I don't know all these guys, but everything I read, every video I see of people like Isaac McNeely, great human beings, great people, taking the sports out of it, just seem to be good human beings. On the basketball court, though, and McNeely can really shoot. He can really shoot it, but he's got the conditions have to be perfect. It's like the Florida football team that's got to go into Buffalo and play in the playoffs in the snow. They don't want no parts of it. We don't have the dogs if the conditions aren't perfect to get the job done.
And the bad thing with it is, Jeff, at least back in the days of like Lato and Gillen, when we had a lot of talent, but I would say we underperformed our talent levels a lot of years. You would have those ceiling games against top-notch opponents. Like, we would beat Duke at home. We beat Carolina at home. We beat a nationally ranked Arizona, at home. This team isn't capable, like, physically, of having those ceiling moments even. We just don't have it. Like you said, that was an excellent point. We have a bunch of really good role players, but nobody to be the guy. IMAC. Imagine IMAC on a Florida or a Kentucky, where they've got guys that can score all over the floor. I mean, he would be. I mean, he
could be the Steve Kerr of Virginia or one of those schools.
Yeah, I mean, he is a knockdown shooter, and he doesn't need a lot of space.
Right.
He needs to be aggressive for us, though. Like, he needs to play like Kobe Bryant for us, and he's not a Mamba mentality player.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you know, when he's dribbling to the basket or he's the one with the ball in his hands at the end of a shot clock, it's not more times than not, it's not going to end with a basket. It's just not his role. It's not his fault, but it's the position he's in on this team. I mean, look, I hate to say this, but I feel like what Sanchez is doing, no matter who he plays, no matter how long he plays, who he plays, he's just moving the chairs on the Titanic.
Oh gosh.
Like, the ship is sinking, Jeff. We don't
But
have
it
the
just
talent to
feels-
win. We don't
feels-
like. It doesn't matter. Play Day, play Rhodey, play Robinson over Blake. You're going to get marginally better. And the ACC is so bad, you might fool yourself by winning more games than you should. But the ACC is terrible.
It feels like his timing of substitutions, though. When we get on a run and things get good, it's time to bring Blake back in the game, or it's time to bring TJ Power into the game. And TJ Power, that's the next one I want to mention. Have you ever seen such a highly rated basketball player coming out of high school? And this is our results. You know, coming in to the season, and I've said this before, I thought that, oh man, TJ Power, he might lead a team in scoring. TJ Power, has he scored 10 points this year as a whole?
Jeff, I don't know, man. TJ Power. Whew.
Thank you for listening, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. We're glad you joined us. Man, TJ, you talk about a disappointment. I don't know that there's been a bigger, like, this would be a topic, if you can think, if you're listening or watching, a bigger transfer disappointment from any sport to Virginia. I've got one that I can think of.
Who's that?
I'm going to give you, do you want to guess?
Is it football?
It's football.
At quarterback?
It is a quarterback.
Philip Sims?
Yeah. That got it, Jeff. You know me well. Philip Sims, you know, he came from Alabama, 5-star guy from Oscar Smith, right?
Yeah.
And went to Alabama, played at Alabama some. And then, you know, transferred to Virginia. We thought we were getting this straight stud. And it didn't happen. So where, you know, yeah, Duke is certainly laughing at us. You know what? Yeah. They're probably not even laughing at us because they don't even know what we're doing. Like, we're so far below their level. We don't even we don't even register with Duke anymore.
No, I know. Shane, that's correct. I think he was a top 20 recruit. I did see this. It was the only top 20 player that has not scored 10 points in his college career. And listen, look, Jack, I think we said this last podcast. Jack was at the NC State game, and after the game, TJ Power and Ishan Sharma were getting shots up, and he said, man, TJ Power didn't miss a thing. So it's an open gym. I'm sure he can shoot his tail off. Once again, right situation, in a mid-major situation, maybe he averages 25 a game. I don't know. But it's been a disappointment. And that's one, Sanchez definitely has not given him minutes. He was a starter to start the year. He played 13 minutes last night. But
and that's probably about 12 more than, or 13 more than he needs.
Let me give a positive. Real quick. I am a fan of Ishan Sharma, and I really like that. And that dude's not afraid to shoot the ball. And he's been thrown to the wolves and running some point guard because Day-Day's in the doghouse. And so Sharma's had to help with some of the ball handling, but Sharma can really shoot. I think Sharma is something special with the right pieces around him. But what's going to be here next year?
Well, I mean,
I don't
Jeff,
know.
I'll be honest. I think I'm trying to figure out. Sorry, it looks like I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to figure out how to get the stream to go on Facebook. But I'm having some problems. Anyway, I think by next year we're looking at a whole new roster. Like, look at Louisville this year. You know, everybody thought, oh my God, the whole team transferred out, but they got a new coach. They brought in a bunch of experienced guys. And somebody had said last night on X, because I mentioned Louisville as a comp as to what I think we should look like next year.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned, money and things like that. UVA's got money. UVA's got money. NIL is not an issue. Academics, now, hey, now you're talking. But I think most of the guys that Louisville brought in were older.
Right.
And so I think that's what you model your program after, is what Louisville's doing. They're having some success. They got a new coach. They got older kids from all over the country. And it's a brand new, like, Tony had the right idea, except he set a 2-year window. Like, let's build for 2 years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I think you got to look 1 year at a time. And that's it. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I hate it. It's not what I want to see, but
Listen, this is how things are, in life. And I say this kind of stuff at work all the time. I'm not a fan of what college basketball has become and what it is to win, what it takes to win. But this is what's been put in front of us. This is the policy that we've been given at work. This is what's been put in front of us. For the college basketball, how the environment is, NIL, et cetera. So now we got to figure out, how do we play with these rules? 15 years ago, if a new coach came in, your program and people transferred out, the program's going to suffer for quite a while. Today, you can have the whole roster transfer out, and you could potentially come in the following season with the right coach, who potentially would bring a bunch of folks with them, and be a tournament team the following year. Yeah. Shane says, in your opinion, who would be our ideal candidate to lead us back to where we need to be?
So I've got.
What's your thoughts,
my ideal candidate is the person I would call first would be Shaka Smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's coached at major programs. He coached at VCU, so he knows the Virginia area. He went to Texas, didn't have as much success there as I think a lot of people wanted, but it's hard to be a good basketball team at a football school. In Texas, no matter how much they're good at basketball, sometimes, or not, they're a football school, always will be.
Right.
And the other name I think you're going to hear, and it might be more realistic, is the current VCU coach, Coach Odom, at VCU. He's got ties. His dad was an assistant at UVA, and then, of course, coached at Wake Forest forever, Dave Odom's son. A Who fan says, can we stop calling it NIL? It's pay for play. You're 100% right. I mean, we do call it NIL now.
VCU already announced they're paying their players an average of $384,000 a year or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like, the problem when you open the can of worms is, like, the worms go everywhere. Like, name, image, and likeness. We want to be able to pay you like a car dealership. We want to be able to pay you for you to come down, sign some autographs, make a commercial, whatever, a few $100 for your time. And that's your money. You've earned it. You should be able to do that. They sell your jersey at the bookstore. We'll give you a cut of that profit. But once you did that, we live in America. Like, they're just making the money that is being offered to them. And so it's like, how do you stop it? I don't think you can. I don't think legally the NCAA held this at bay forever. It's kind of like the Redskins name, Jeff. Forever. People said there was a pocket of people saying, oh my gosh, we got to change the name Redskins is awful, blah, blah, blah. But then you never thought it would actually happen. But then slowly over time, it shifted. And eventually it got to a point where
The
Redskins
pressure
can't
came
exist
on.
anymore.
Yep.
And it's been the same thing with this pay for play. College athletes have been paid for years, Jeff. And that includes Virginia. And that includes
Correct.
under the table.
Right.
Trying to legalize it. I mean, that's I just wish it was I wish it was the old system. I don't mind guys getting paid. I think they should, but not millions of dollars and not is anything tied to it?
I think there's still more change. Well, of course, there's more change to come, and there's gotta be a way to regulate some of this. I mean, it's turned into the wild, wild west.
I mean, can guys literally sign and get money and then just enter the portal and go? Like it's like, I'm not going to say the name because if you don't have a paid subscription, it's behind a paywall, but we're about to probably sign another offensive lineman to the football team. This will be his fourth school in 4 years. 4 school in 4 years. Like, that's going to be commonplace. But, what was interesting, and I know we're kind of switching basketball, football, but it applies. When we were talking to Kevin Whittington just the other night, he brought up a very dark side. They got dark side of the ring that talks about the bad stuff in wrestling. The dark side of this NIL and pay for play is, Jeff, I enter the portal. Hey, if nobody wants me, guess what? I just gave up a scholarship and now I don't have a college anymore.
Right.
Like, I'm paying for college now. Just because you enter the portal, yeah, if you're a good player, somebody's going to want you. But if you're not, then I mean, you can enter the portal thinking somebody's going to take a chance on you, and you're sitting there now. You don't even get a college degree. I didn't see that comment. I don't think we could get a coach to leave Louisville to come to us.
That's not what he's asking, but he's asking about the offensive lineman.
Oh yeah, I can't comment on. I don't want to comment on that. I mean, I don't think it's right, but an offensive lineman, if you've heard that, there's a good chance, that's you've heard from. We had an offensive lineman visit from Louisville, so
yeah. And talking a little football there, you posted on Twitter that Twitter poll, and everybody's most excited about the offensive line upgrades. And we were talking with Kevin Wington the other night this week, and I think he thought that was great. The O-line, the trenches don't get a lot of recognition, but we know the need there was after last football season. Yeah, no, basketball this is just one of those years. It's unfortunate. We're gonna, Jack had to be at the radio show this morning. He gets up at 4:15 in the morning for the radio show. And I was like, "You gonna watch the game?" He's like, "Well, I'm gonna try to." He stayed up through halftime, but I highly advised against it. I just don't want him to get caught up in my own ways, because even if I had to got up at 4, I probably have watched the dang game. I can't control that. I can't help myself. It's not a smart decision. So
yeah, my alarm was set for 4:55, and I watched.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to advise better, because gosh, man, that's tough. Stay up and watch that, and then that's your result. Back when in the Tony Bennett 2018s, 2019, 2017, you ain't missing that much for nothing. If you go in and you tell people, 4 hours ago I was up watching Virginia basketball, they look at you like, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, you got a disease or something.
But Jeff, so this was funny. I did the old man thing. I said, well, I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna take a nap before the game. But I didn't set an alarm. So of course I fall asleep. I'm counting on my wife to wake me up. Uh-huh. And next thing I know, I'm feeling something hitting my feet. My son comes in the room. He got up to get some water. He woke up. Didn't you want to watch the Virginia game? It was 11:20.
Oh God, you were late.
I was late, and so I went to turn on the recording. And turn on the recording. The game has changed channels from the recording, so now I'm 20 minutes in. So when I got on Twitter real quick, and I saw there was a time mishap, I'm like, well, man, that saved me because I only missed like 6 minutes of game action.
So yeah, well, two things real quick. I just want to reply to a Who fan. Yeah, we do plan on being at the spring game, so we'll definitely like to catch up with you. That time change. Now listen, Virginia like we're gonna blow them out the building. That thing slowed the whole process. The delay. I mean,
if I'm talking 11-3, right?
Yeah, if I'm talking to a Virginia Tech fan or a Duke fan, I'm letting them know the reason we lost the game was because of that delay. But we were rolling, and then that delay was ridiculous. How long it took? I was like, holy cow! And why did it take the referee so long to notice that the clock wasn't running? Did you see how that went?
I did not. I was going to say me 14, watching the game is why we lost.
It was like it's like 14-29 to go, and Virginia's. I don't even remember if Virginia had the ball or Cal had the ball coming down the court. A whole possession went, and then Virginia went the other way. Cal had it, and then Virginia went the other way, and before they realized that the clock wasn't running. That's crazy. Like a whole possession and a half before you realize that the clock isn't running. Or Cal, I think, had the ball because then when they came back, it was 11 on the shot clock, and then Cal hit a 3, and then the game turned real quick at that point. I was like, holy cow, what did those refs, that's what they're going to send to a Virginia Cal basketball game. You know, we're going to get the bottom of the barrel, I guess. But
what do you think about Stanford coming up?
Stanford, did you watch any? I don't know if you watched any of the Stanford Virginia Tech game. I guess they said they're going to send both Virginia schools over to the West Coast at the same time because Tech plays Cal Saturday and we play Stanford. Yeah, I don't know. Virginia Tech's bad too. I don't know what to think about.
It's hard to remain positive, Larry. It is very, very hard to remain positive. It was easy to remain positive. I'll give Jeff credit. He always would stay positive when Coach Bennett was the coach. I would get down and I would be frustrated, and Jeff would say, look, none of this matters. At the end of the year, we're a top 4 seed. Put it in stone. We're going to be top 4 seed in the ACC tournament. Get that double bye. And he was right. He was almost always right. And, man, this run again, and I don't think Tony would be a top 4 seed with this team.
Correct.
But I think he'd be winning more games.
Yep. The defense would be better.
Yeah, I think last night was a game that we potentially could have won with Coach Bennett.
He would have lost his, you know what? I know watching that game, he had to be losing it, watching that defense last night.
And they still talk. The announcers still talk like we're some great defensive team.
Yeah, I don't understand. I really don't know where they're getting this from. And I think our defensive rating, you know, I guess our defensive points per game is still up there a little bit, but that's because we don't, you know, it's our pace of play a little bit that allows that to happen. But our defensive efficiency or whatever, it's rated way on down there. It's the lowest it's been since Tony Bennett was in his first or second year at Virginia, I believe I read.
And the talent level is probably about where it was the first or second year with Bennett. You know, he just didn't have a lot when he came in.
Sai says we would have won the SMU game. I could have seen that. That's one we could have got. Cal's one I feel like we could have got. And it's hard to look back on these games and try to figure out. And it just tells you Cal is sitting in at what they got, like 3 losses, but Duke beat them by like 30.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch. We just looked deflated. Every California bucket. Someone has some sort of reaction. Terrible body language all night. And Larry also said
it was like I said, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. The body language was just terrible all night. guys, and so that's the defeating part to me is that how do you turn that around? I don't think you can.
Yeah, the body language was real bad, and the effort level. I don't like to talk about these guys and their effort level, but and I know, and you've been a much bigger hater on Rhodey than I have, even though I'm not the biggest Rhodey fan either. But that guy gives a lot more effort than about anybody on that team. He's given the effort.
I really only criticized Rhodey this year strongly in the Memphis game
Mm-hmm.
when he was a turnover machine, and then he'd turn it over and then put his head down and like jog for a couple steps.
Right.
Like,
And also, though, in his defense, he's been put in a position that's not his. He's not a point guard. But
Jeff, I'm seeing comments like pop, like they're there, but I don't see them. Are you?
Yeah, they're up higher. So, real quick, I'll read it. I'll help us on those, Jay. Cy says the next coach needs to embrace the NIL like Coach O'Connor. Yeah, I mean, I think Virginia now. Hopefully, there's another anonymous donor out there for the basketball team. It doesn't take quite as much money because it's only if you can pay for 8 players, really good. We could put something out there. What happens, Jay? Just so you know, on here, and we're just troubleshooting on air for everybody. But when somebody puts a comment in, their comments all stay together. So if somebody,
I didn't realize that.
When you see the pop, you just got to scroll up to see where the new one's at.
Can we change that to make it
I don't know how to,
in order? Because that seems wrong.
Look now, look. So for putting it on the screen, but listen, you're asking. Look, folks. New webcam tonight. Had to go out and get one because the newer computer crapped out. And the computer I'm using, the camera that came on it is horrible. So went and got the webcam, and then this thing is slow as molasses. So I was just hoping we wouldn't be buffering tonight with me. And then you're asking me if I can organize the comments. You're crazy.
We probably missed a couple in there. I apologize.
No, we didn't. I've been keeping up with it.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah, and so we just got known, but folks, we also we did get a live website going today, thecavalierconnection.com. You can go check out our stuff. Update, guys. Notre Dame, Penn State now 10-10. Thank you.
I've got it on television. If you see me,
I do too. I haven't looked up in a bit.
That means I'm looking at the TV. So, I'm pulling for the Irish, even though Penn State have some of our Virginia guys out there with Dex and Coach Dex and Coach Hagens. But, I'm pulling for Notre Dame.
So did we want to get into a little football?
Yeah, we can talk a little football.
So I did want to talk about Jay had a post this week, and I just want to read his 4 items that he would like to see real quick. While I'm pulling up Jay's tweet, Larry says Rhodey, Sharma, Saunders, and Kofi, when he's out of foul trouble, have been our guys. I agree.
And then this comment from him as well.
Rhodey
has actually been one of the few difference makers for the last few games. Love seeing it. Yeah, I mean, look, the team don't have a whole lot of fight, and he's the guy.
Last night, when we needed, he was going and getting baskets. Nobody else was even willing to try it. It felt like.
Yeah.
But starting the new year, this is what Jay says his 4, and you can quote them off for me if you want, Jay.
I don't have them up, so
I've got it up.
Okay.
So his 4 biggest New Year's resolutions for the football team: protect Scott Stadium. Number 1, fill Scott Stadium. Focus on the trenches, which we've definitely done. Get some big time linemen on both sides. Play calling belongs to Coach Elliott in 25. I don't see that one coming to light, but and I don't think we'll fill Scott Stadium either.
So number 1, they're in the order of importance to me.
Oh yeah.
One, you've got to win your home games. Like the way you get more fans to come is you put a winning product on the field, period. Like I don't care who you got to schedule, bring in Phoebus High, bring in, Paul D. Camp Community College, Thomas
Community
Nelson
College.
Community, like the apprentice school. I don't care who you got to bring in. Just bring in somebody you can run it up on. Like I want a 50 burger in September.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want a 50 burger.
And you got to, have your quarterback and running backs putting up some huge numbers, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 175 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns. Something to get excited.
When back in the golden days, we would beat the brakes off. I mean, we beat the brakes off name teams, but we'd play in Ohio University, which now might beat us.
Navy would beat us too.
Right, we play a Western Michigan. We play we play the William and Marys, the Richmonds, and those guys. But I mean, I don't care who you got to play. Just put them on the schedule that you can almost write the check knowing you're going to win the game. Yeah. I think we try to do that every year with Richmond or William and Mary, flipping and flopping. I don't even want to play them. Bring in Norfolk State.
I don't know. Michael Vick's
that's dangerous. Bring in Hampton. Let Fowler come down and see his boy on the field with the visiting band.
No. Fowler's there at Hampton.
That's what I said. Bring in Hampton.
Oh, I thought you said. I you were saying.
Yeah, I retracted Norfolk State because Vic's gonna get them turned around quick. I'm quite sure. I don't know if you saw this or not, but he brought on today Leroy Reynolds, ex-UVA player.
Yeah.
So congrats to him. Obviously, he got Elton Brown as well. But so I think they're going to do really good things and really quickly. And I've said this on the show before, but my fear is Pry is going to put in another 6-win season. And then Vic's going to have won about 9 or 10 games at Norfolk State a couple of years and flippity flop. And now Virginia Tech's got Michael Vick as their head coach. And all hell's going to break loose in the Commonwealth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, but I guess maybe we need to, in those kind of games, we need to win the state first. And I mean, right now we can't beat Virginia Tech, but win the mid-major part of the state first at home. And
Chris, we'll definitely be talking. We'll definitely be talking baseball. We talk a little lacrosse, but neither one of us know enough to really be dangerous with that. But baseball, we talk quite a bit. Last year we talked to Jay Woolfolk right before the season started.
Yeah.
I don't know who we'll try. I'm sure we'll try to get somebody, but it's a little bit harder for us now to get people than it was last year.
And we got one right here from Western Branch. I don't know if I can get him. He played at baseball, little league baseball, same league as my kids. I coach in it, but it's been a little bit of a struggle to try to get him on. But and I really hope though, Jay, that we could get down if we can cover a baseball and we could hit a lacrosse and baseball maybe in the same day though. Now I know they do some of that, and that'd be pretty cool. But definitely can win. Those are a couple national title opportunities sitting out there. Larry
for sure.
said earlier.
I mean, getting back to the things with the football, I think if you protect Scott, that's going to lead to filling Scott. It won't be overnight, but I think you can get there. It might take a few seasons of consistently winning, but I think you can do that. Bringing in the big bodies, we're at a point with the offensive line where I'm like, okay, I don't even know if we really want to bring in more bodies. If everybody that we have, like the Ethan Sipes, the Drake Metcalfs, the guys that have never stepped on the field, if they're actually going to suit up again, if they're actually going to be eligible and healthy, like how many offensive linemen are we going to have? And if we add this kid through the portal potentially, I mean, you can never have enough talent, as we saw last year when we were just down to, nearly playing walk-ons. But I want to make sure we're not spending too much money in one spot, and neglecting some others. I think we still need help in the secondary for sure.
And that was last year. We spent I can't say we spent all the money, but we brought all that wide receiver talent in that just didn't pan out. And then our offensive line, we had no depth. And so injuries, Calandria going down to sacks, then Calandria giving up sacks by just walking out of bounds 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So I do like to see this offensive line depth for sure.
Yeah, you wonder how many of those sacks were just from him running out of bounds. I mean, it would be easy to go back and watch the tape, figure out. But we found out he was soft anyway. So soft. he was Charmin. You leave when you get benched, you're Charmin. So
man,
that's what I got.
Not
to say
Sharma. Not Sharma.
Not Sharma.
Oh, you said Charmin.
Charmin.
Okay.
Soft as Charmin.
That's right. Oh yeah, Shane says bring in McLeod to coach the defensive backs.
The only problem with that, Shane, is he got a 13-year NFL career, Jeff. He don't need no money, so he might want to go on vacation for a while.
Yeah. I don't know. Love of the game. Love of the game.
Yeah, and love of university. A lot of these guys. One of the best things about us having this is that we've gotten to talk to a lot of these guys that we would never have dreamed of talking to, and they really are brotherhood. Like, I don't know if you got to listen to Ball Hawks podcast, but he had OG, he had Cove, and he had a couple of the other. Ray Roberts was on, and they kind of broke down the season. And man, you can just tell that brotherhood, man. They do love each other. So maybe McLeod would come. I think he'd be a great addition.
Yeah, we definitely could use it. Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to football. And at the end of last football season, I wouldn't have said the same, but it's amazing what a little money, a little anonymous donation. Jay's, in case you didn't know, Jay's parents are part of that anonymous donation. I know they don't want me to out it, but Jay's parents and brother.
Just say it was me. I mean, if you're gonna make one up, just say it was the Cavalier Connection.
Yeah, maybe we should say that. Next thing you know, it's Scott Stadium at Cavalier Connection Field. Oh gosh! We would have the hill named after us.
So we do have some exciting guests lined up. One for sure next week, and then maybe two next week. If not, it's going to be after the completion of the Hula Bowl. That's a hint for that one. I don't know if we want to spoil it, Jeff. I don't know. What do you think?
You can spoil it.
Yeah, so friend of the show, we've had him on before, but after the Hula Bowl is completed, we're going to be having on Tyler Neville to talk about his NFL prospects and just to recap the season with him, things he saw and experienced. And he's such a great young man, such a great story. If you don't know his story, definitely go check out. You can check out our interview with him that Jeff did. Or ESPN did a story on him. I'm sure if you Googled the Tyler Neville ESPN story, you'd find it. So, but man, I couldn't be rooting harder for another young man to go to the Hula Bowl and perform well. And I think he'll be drafted. I do think he'll be drafted. So I'm excited for him for that. And then this to me is the biggest guest we've had, Jeff, for information purposes.
For information, I don't really rank our guests at all. They're all great. Go ahead.
They're all great, but for information purposes, as far as like the current landscape, who's bigger than Lo Davis? I don't know. And folks, next Thursday night, we're going to be interviewing Lo on the show. That one won't be live. We'll be dropping it probably Friday at noon, I would assume, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll do 12.
But two super exciting guests, and we can't wait to share those interviews with you. And I'm sure we'll post something to ask questions, to get questions. So, if you got questions that you want to give to us, you can send them to us in the YouTube comments here. You can send them to us on X if you're watching on X. Our email is talkuvasports@gmail.com. Feel free to email us anytime.
You can put a comment in also on the thecavalierconnection.com. You go to thecavalierconnection.com and go to contact us. You can type your message right in there and put your you'll ask your name, email, and you send your message. It'll come right to us, and we'll get back to every one of you.
And Jeff, we could probably start doing this. Put a link to the website in the comments to the YouTube video. I'm not real savvy, but I know a lot of smart YouTubers do that. That ain't us.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
But we can certainly do that, I think. But
yep. Yeah. Yeah, hey, listen. It's a big step to get a website put together here. It's not God's gift to websites, but it's something on there. Our podcasts and episodes, loading them up a little bit at a time. I have our last 4 up there. I'll get this one up there, and then Jay writes articles, and so some of his older articles are on there right now, and then there will be probably more to come between Jay and I'm gonna try to get in there and help Jay a little bit with some articles here. So
I haven't written one since football. I'm getting a little itchy.
Any word on the biggest UVA fan? Oh, let me read. This is a good question. Any word on the biggest UVA fan? Sam, don't know his last name yet. I don't know. Have you seen anything, Jay?
No, I haven't seen anything. But certainly keeping. I'm sure lots of people got him in their prayers, and super fan. Yeah, had a stroke, as I think most people have seen on the internet. And last thing I saw on Facebook that he was, recovering well. And certainly prayers for the super fan. I think that's one thing when Jeff and I were going in for the opener, I said, man, we got to try to find a super fan to get a picture with him. And we might have seen him. We didn't get a picture.
Right.
But we need to still do that. So, and we also, Jeff, change the subject back to what we got going on here. Nothing to share, but good things coming from Mincers. We're going to have some exciting things to share soon, probably in the next few weeks, about things that we're working on with Mincers that are involving you, the fans, and opportunities to, have some giveaways potentially. So, exciting stuff happening here, Jeff, and we just appreciate everybody who is a part of it, because we did this to have therapy, but I think a lot of Virginia fans out there like therapy and need it, especially right now.
No question. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for this evening. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. If you get a chance, go hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on X if you're not already. YouTube, we are at the Cavalier Connection. If you go to the website, if you go to thecavalierconnection.com, all of the links to all of our stuff is right there. You click it, it'll take you right there. Hit subscribe for us, and check our stuff out. And next week, Jay said it, some exciting guests next week on Thursday, releasing Friday, and we'll have another episode earlier in the week, probably discussing this game against Stanford. So, but definitely appreciate everybody tuning in.
CavalierGold.com for all your retirement, traditional, your gold IRA needs, Jeff. If you're retiring soon, visit CavalierGold.com.
No doubt. And go to Mincers.com as well. We'll see everybody next week. Have a great weekend. Go Hoos.
Go Hoos.